Hey everybody, Chris here from academyofworship.org, and today we're going to be talking about how you can take a cheap keyboard controller like this and your home computer and make beautiful pad sounds. So let's get right to it. Okay, here we are in our software. I'm using Reaper for my DAW or digital audio workstation. It doesn't really matter what you use. All we're doing right now is covering how you create a pad sound. And it's going to be different depending on the software you're using or the keyboard controller you're using or whatever. But like all the things that we teach here on this channel, it should be the same process. So the ideas behind what I'm doing is what you should take away from this, not specifically how I do it in a Reaper. So it's going to be like, adding the instrument, adding the effects, that sort of stuff. So let's get to it, and I'll kind of show you what I'm doing here, and you're going to kind of go with me on this journey because I haven't actually created a pad sound yet. You can ignore this top channel. I'm just recording my mic audio here, so just ignore that. But right here on this channel, right here is where we're going to be working, and this is the pad channel, and this is going to be where all of our MIDI takes place and all this stuff. So here we go. The first thing I want to do is add a keyboard sound. Now, if I play my keyboard controller right now, you'll see a little red bar going up right there on the channel. That's just detecting MIDI input from my keyboard controller, which is a super cheap Akai MPK Mini. It's nothing spectacular, and you can see it recorded some MIDI notes here, but because there's no sound on this channel or there's no actual instrument being played, you didn't hear anything. So first and foremost, I'm gonna go ahead and add a synth, and I can go down to my synth section here. And again, this is going to be different on your software. This is a free piece of software, this OBX XD. We're going to use this for our basic synthesis, and all this does is creates the most analog 80s synth sounds you'd ever heard, but they create awesome pads. So for instance, we get this just right out of the box. So now we're not going to change anything. I'm just going to go real basic here. So we got a real basic sawtooth sound that comes like this out of the box. It's a great place to start. So start with a saw wave on your oscillators if you have that option. And to be completely honest, with the amount of effects and stuff we're putting on here, really all you're looking for is something that sustains if you hold the keys down. So if I hold my keys down, they play forever. So that's generally where you want to start. And there's all kinds of stuff you can do after the fact to tweak it, but that's a great place to start. So now just think of this as if you're doing this in the real world and you have a physical keyboard that makes actual sound as opposed to in your DAW with a synth. It's the same exact idea. You would then plug your synthesizer, which is this guy here, into an effect, and the effect we want to come after our synthesizer for a very basic pad sound is going to be a reverb. So I'm going to add a reverb, which we will grab from right here. I have a super favorite reverb. It does cost money, but it's called Valhalla Shimmer, and it's the most gorgeous reverb I've ever heard. So if you want to spend 50 bucks, go pick up Valhalla Shimmer and you'll never look back. This is assuming you use a software like I do. So I'm going to add that afterwards, but we could do it with the built-in free one on the DAW. Any reverb honestly will do because the effect is generally the same. We're going to soften up the pad, so or at least soften up that sawtooth sound. So I'm going to add this Valhalla Shimmer, and now we get this. Right? So all kinds of gorgeous. Now, you can totally get rid of your sawtooth almost by making the mix 100% right here. If you do that, then you don't get as much attack. It's just a real wash now. So right there is a completely usable pad sound. You don't even have to deal with much more on that if you don't want to. This particular sound has the ability to add some shimmer on top of it, hence the name shimmer. It's kind of the high stuff that all the guitar players love to use, and this comes in really cool. We can leave it single, and this reverb mode is set to mono. I usually set it to big stereo, but in this case, we'll just leave it. But if I bring this guy up, you can season that to taste. That's like a beautiful pad sound. So all I did was I added this free one. This is the VST for, so a software synth for OB-XD. Go Google around for it. It's a free synth. And then I just literally all I did is add a reverb afterward. Granted, it's a $50 reverb, which I don't think is too incredibly expensive, assuming you're putting together like a real basic synth rig. And by dialing a few of these things in, you can get this gorgeous, gorgeous pad sound. So that's pretty much it. That's how you can create a pad using just a digital synth into a reverb. Now, again, if you're in the real world and you have an actual synthesizer, you can use that, plug that into a reverb pedal, or even if you want to go through a computer, you could do this through an interface. There's all kinds of ways you can do it, but essentially you're just taking a saw wave or some sort of analog synth sound, sending it through a reverb. You can even send it through a delay into a reverb if you want. You can treat it just like you would a guitar as far as what the signal flow is. So really you're just wanting to soften up that sound, let it sustain a bit, and make it sound just big and gorgeous, right? So that's it. That's how you create a pad, a real basic pad using not too many things, and get a really good sound out of it. In other videos, we're going to talk more about setting up a synth for yourself if you just want a real simple setup for one, or maybe something you have just in a pinch to be able to play live with just a synth and have some options. But we'll get to that in other videos. But enjoy making some pads, and as always, and especially now, go out and flip some switches, but turn those knobs and enjoy making some beautiful sounds. I'll catch you in the next one. See ya.